Kpopcast, and I'm joined by K-pop b-boy Supermatic. What's up, Supermatic?
Hello, and what's up? Of course, as always, joined by my amazing co-host DJ P. Low. How you doing?
Hey, great. Although Stephanie had to leave us for another fabulous trip abroad this week, but that hasn't stopped us from talking about K-pop. What's on the show for today?
We'll be doing a double Daebak shot of Girls' Generation and their comeback songs Holiday and All Night.
But first, hit replays. Hit replays are our personal recommendations for songs we recommend you hit replay for this week. So Matt, what's making you hit replay?
It's the boys of Winter and one of their double comeback songs, Love Me, Love Me. What sold me on this was watching their live stages and their dance practice, seeing how much fun these guys are just having performing it, dancing it, and that audience engagement. I mean, yeah, it's another typical summer dance hall, tropical house song, falling in line with this year's flavor, but it still holds up, and it's a really fun listen, so definitely recommend that one.
Go, just tell me now. The yellow leaf Adam down, 목소리도 Love me, love me, love me, love me, 난 영원해 너와 함께 춤추고 싶어 Love me, love me, 멈추지 않을래 너와 함께 숨 쉬고 싶어.
Yeah, I love it. It's one that you just kick back, and it's for those carefree summer days when you have time to spend.
So Peter, what's making you hit replay?
So it's this guy called Producer and his song Night Flower. It's featuring Carr and The Garden. It's got this really groovy, chill, funky beat. And two music videos actually came out for this song. But I recommend watching the Flower version, which meets the quote-unquote flower style of the song. The quote-unquote night version has a gimmick which involves showing clips over and over that started to give me a schizophrenic seizure, so I would say don't watch that. It has a joke about jacking off, so that was pretty unnecessary. But if you want to chill out for those hot summer nights, check it out. It's Night Flower.
Oh, we on fire. Oh, we on fire. 6ix9ine on fire. 밤에 꽃을 피우고 Oh, we on fire. Oh, we on fire. 6ix9ine on fire.
Alright, yeah, definitely, I was interested with this one when you picked it, and it's got a nice chill vibe, so I'm in line with that one. Good pick, Peter.
Okay, Daebak or not, it's Girls' Generation, and they're back. The Queens. It's their song Holiday. Matt, what happens in this music video?
We see the ladies of Girls' Generation just spending their day going around a bunch of different places, settings, enjoying the fact that they've hit 10 years. They're getting ready for a night of celebration, and I think this could possibly maybe be a lead-in to All Night, because Holiday seems to take place somewhere in the mid-afternoon or early evening.
Oh, I can totally see that. Yeah. Let me kick it off. Matt, what was your initial reaction to this song in terms of the concept?
Concept? I mean, at first it was a fun watch, but then the more and more I looked at it, I realized that there were different things about it I'm not necessarily so big on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think overall the general sense I got was that it felt like, what was it, Party all over again? If you remember their Party comeback. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I totally agree. So from their last promotion season when they did Party, that was at a beach. This was at like Hollywood club theme, and it's like the lyrics and the concept of the song would have gone so well if they were at a beach. It felt like there was no reference to the holiday in this concept, so I was sort of confused by that. But let me just say, like, these girls are flawless. And I feel like every single time we see Girls' Generation, they've gone through another evolution in plastic surgery. Like, I don't know if they've just been like hella airbrushed or Botox, but like I noticed their like upper cheeks were completely stiff and still no matter how they smile or reacted. So
oh, really?
I don't know, that's just a sign of maybe Korean plastic surgery, but they looked pretty good. I think on the most part, they themselves as human beings looked good, but I was not digging their outfits. Did you catch what they looked like?
Yeah, honestly, on that note, one thing for me, I just have to say, whoever thought it'd be okay to once again put Taeyeon's hair up in a bun and dress her like an 11-year-old, no, please, check yourself.
Yeah, it's like, what are you trying to say here? It's like, we're not into the underage theme, and it seemed like they were all like pre-adolescent. Like, these hairstyles and these outfits were not fit for queens. These were like outfits fit for an 11-year-old girl.
Yeah.
It's not something that seemed age appropriate for SNSD, for people who have been at the top of their game for 10 years now.
Yeah, I wholly agree.
You go to the club and you see a Muppet, and that's when you know, okay, guys, it's lit. We've got a Muppet here. It's for real. But man, that poor bartender in this music video didn't get paid. It's like, Sunny completely ignores him, and he's like tapping on the table. He's like, okay, it's time to pay me now. Did you catch that?
Yeah, and I saw that, like, not on the first watch, but after you pointed it out, I had to go back, and I was like, oh yeah, poor dude just gets left hanging.
Yeah, and it was interesting. Like, they're in a club and they're only serving milkshakes, I guess, like no alcoholic drinks. I don't know what they're trying to say with that. But I guess the girls are serving milkshakes to bring the boys out.
Knee slap.
I don't think that was intentional. That's just but I think a lot of the fans are picking up in it. What did you think of the choreo behind this song?
Honestly, it seemed pretty expectant for SNSD. It's kind of simple. They've got these moves. They've got that point dance where they go ha ha holiday, and it's just your arms up back and forth. Nothing really stood out to me as being like spectacular, but I guess that's because they wanted to make this one easy for people to copy. Like, following the typical SNSD formula.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, on the whole, it seems like Holiday was a very conservative, safe bet. It was something that SM was trying to do to appease the So1s, who, if you're So1, between the two songs, you seem to prefer Holiday, just for all these tropes that only SNSD can deliver. On that note, all the dancing seemed pretty hella basic to me. I mean, it's got all the show choir cliches. Like, at one point, they each kind of lean on one knee and bend over. It's like, that's a show choir move.
Yeah.
So I wasn't impressed, at least from the choreo from Holiday.
Yeah, same. And it's kind of unfortunate when I know that these girls are capable of more. But then, to be fair, I feel like in the later years, SNSD hasn't really gone for anything super complicated.
Yeah. And we've seen other groups, when they do live performances, they sort of suffer when they try to recreate the complex dancing and singing at the same time live. Like, that's where it sort of, falls apart. But Hyoyeon, that didn't stop Hyoyeon from, delivering her own dance moves. Did you see her hair flip right at the end? There's a moment when they're all on the stage and all the girls kind of get up and then they lie down. And as they're going back down, Hyoyeon rocks her head around, and she goes into a ponytail, showing that, she's quite capable of putting in that dance flair.
Yeah, I mean, she's the main dancer of SNSD for a reason, and she definitely shines here. She stood out to me the most, when I guess that kind of happens if you're the dancer of the group, because the way she was executing all the moves, as simple as they were, I noticed her compared to the other members of SNSD. And when someone can stand out even just from doing the simplest of dance moves, then that's when you know that, that's the one that can actually dance.
Yeah, and maybe they sort of handicapped the dancing just so that they can have the lesser performing dance members of the team, be on the same level, right? So Hyoyeon was giving her style, even though it was the same baseline choreography that everyone can, step up to the plate with. Okay, so what did you think of the concept overall of Supermatic? How would you rate it in terms of a 1 to 5 score? 1 being lowest, 5 being highest.
I found myself very middle ground with the concept, because it, like I said, it's what I would expect of SNSD, but I kind of wish they also would have done a little more, especially playing more with that holiday theme, as you said.
Yeah.
So, as indicative of middle ground, I'm just right there at a 3.
Okay. I was really disappointed by the concept. It seemed really disjoint. This wasn't a holiday. They're in like a Hollywood club, and it's all like on a sound stage. It's got all that artificial lighting on them. And I would have preferred that they were on a beach for a holiday. Yeah. That's what I think of when I think like summer holiday. Go to the beach. And maybe they just didn't do it because they accidentally already did it already. I was really disappointed by the 11-year-old concept. These are top of the line queens who pioneered really the K-pop genre as it means K-pop today.
Oh, definitely.
So for someone who has been in the game for 10 years, let's deliver a concept fit for queens. And I did not get that queen concept here. So overall, I'm going to give it a 2.
Ooh.
But let's move on to the audio of the song. Supermatic, what did you think of the beat itself?
You know, sonically, again, it's what I would expect from SNSD. Like, upon the very first initial listen, I instantly thought of Party. And funny enough, one of our listeners, what Will said, was more along the same line of thinking. He said that Holiday could have easily been a Sistar song, and a great one at that.
Yeah.
And I fully agree with him. I could see this being a Sistar song, or honestly, at this point, almost like any of the big girl groups in here. Like, the funny thing is I could see maybe even like Twice or Red Velvet doing it. And considering that this is SNSD, I kind of wish that they would do more to further differentiate themselves from the new crop of girl groups.
Yeah. I could definitely hear Hyolin's voice in this. And I feel like I can hear Hyolin's voice in everything. And I'm like, oh, that would be better. But in this case, that would have been her sweet spot, her comfort spot, fit from Sistar. The breakout star for me in this song, aside from the Muppet, was Hyoyeon. And the way she rapped. I thought that was excellent.
Yes.
And unfortunately, when you look at like the line distribution of the song as a whole, Hyoyeon had like the fewest lines even with the rap. But I just want to say, like, on the whole, she is the real star, I think, in Girls' Generation that I'm seeing right now. So props to her.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with you. It's funny because we both cited Hyoyeon talking about the concept, and now here we are also talking about her rap in the audio. If anything, I feel like this was maybe low-key Hyoyeon's coming out as like, hey, look what I can do even as a member of SNSD.
Yeah, I mean, Taeyeon is the leader of the group, but it didn't seem like she was the leader in this song. Not in the audio, not in the concept or the dancing, really. It was Hyoyeon who seemed to really stand out to me as the actual leader of the group.
Yeah, definitely.
In some ways, I feel like Taeyeon was really held back in the singing. In fact, I was speaking to one of my friends who made that same comment, that it seems sort of weird, you know, after we've heard Taeyeon Unchained through all her other albums and her breadth and capability, it's like, okay, we've got to go something with this very safe singing range so that all the other groups and singers can go along with it. This would have been a good opportunity, I think, for Taeyeon to do some harmonizing, you know, something more sophisticated that shows her ability and complements the group as a whole. But we didn't really get that, at least not in Holiday. Okay, so how would you rate it in terms of the audio?
Even with Hyoyeon's rap, again, it's just I kind of wish it was something a little more new or at least different. As many of our listeners will be familiar with, I'm always more in favor of groups and artists that swing for the fences, as I always say. I didn't get that from this particular single, so again, more middle ground. I'm just right there with a 3.
Yeah. Okay, so for the song itself, it's definitely catchy. Like, don't get me wrong. I definitely hear the hot Holiday in my head whenever I think of SNSD in this comeback. But it just feels like it was cut short of their actual ability.
Yeah.
They can execute. I think, you know, being 10-year veterans at this point, they can clearly execute and they have that training. And yet they give them something that is very held back in both the singing and the dancing and the concept. And they're no longer 11-year-old girls. So let's give them what queens deserve. This was not one of those singles. So I also have to give this a 2.5 on the audio. Okay.
All right.
Would you say that this song is Daebak or not?
Yeah, so for me, the funny thing is, like, even though I'm right there in the middle ground, I do have to admit the song is still just barely up there at Daebak because, yeah, it's catchy. It's stuck in my head. It's SNSD. I mean, I can't ding them too much.
Wow, I can't believe you're being that generous. For me, it's definitely not Daebak. Maybe if you're a So1 or a Sasang fan, like, who views SNSD or Girls' Generation as doing no wrong, you can see it as Daebak. But as a non-Sewon fan, I feel like I can actually see the girls for their actual talent and ability. And that talent and ability wasn't shown in this song. So I have to give it not Daebak. So I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, on the whole, it's one you gotta pass on.
That's fine.
I like to party.
Moving on to their second single, All Night.
Yes.
I thought this was a nice contrast, at least to Holiday. What happened to us in this song?
So for All Night, we see Girls' Generation going to a club to celebrate 10 years. But of course, no night at the club is complete without some drama, debauchery, a little bit of weirdness, and of course, overall memorable fun. The funny thing though is that there were two versions of this music video released. There's a documentary version that includes clips of each of the members being interviewed, where they give their thoughts and feelings on 10 years with Girls' Generation. And then there's the clean version, which is basically just the music video without those snippets included.
사랑에 빠지면 무모한 일만큼 계속되면 가정갈처럼 서로 녹아들어 All night, all night, all night 사랑이란 건 정해진 것 없어 흘러넘치는 대로 가자 honey Even my fever 흠뻑 끓여 마셔 All night, all night, all night
All Night as a music video. What did you think of this concept, Supermatic?
I liked it, because, as the song indicates, it's called All Night, and as you see from the concept, they're at the club, they're partying all night, and, that's indicative of, at least to me, the fact that Girls' Generation has hit 10 years, but just because they've hit 10 years, that doesn't mean they're stopping just yet. They can still have fun, and they can still go.
Yeah, it's definitely like on the up and up for them, right, with this song. For me, I kind of, when I was watching the sort of story of the concept, I was sort of imagining that Tiffany just broke up with some guy, right? And she's like, come on girls, let's all go to the club, the gay club, no boys, I just want to dance, dance the night away, quoting her other song, right? So she goes to this drag queen club, and let's be real, it's pink, it's a 20 styles club called Hollywood with sparkles and sequins and glitter. This is not a straight club. There's no straight man going to that club. It's I feel like just looking at the setting for this club, or Club Hollywood, or whatever it's called, it's like someone watched La La Land at the musical and then this happened. They were inspired by that 1920s Hollywood throwback, and they're like, oh yeah, we should totally turn that into a K-pop music video concept. At one point we see a guy in the girl's bathroom and a girl trying to lead him out. It's like, no way, that guy's straight. What straight guy goes to this sort of club? So there's no dudes in this club, just queens and drag queens. What's so funny about this club is that it's very timid and polite, that maybe was brand appropriate for Girls' Generation. Contrast this with other clubs we've seen in K-pop. I'm thinking of Hyuna's How's This. Remember that club?
Oh, yeah. That one was getting lit.
You say that there's some debauchery in this music video. I don't think there was any debauchery. It was just girls having fun on a night out, watching drag queens, right? With this, with Hyuna, that was debauchery. That was
sure.
There was probably gambling, maybe prostitution, maybe some drug laundering. That's what I was getting from Kiana's How's This. Kiana hooks up with a dude.
Oh, yeah.
We don't see any of the girls hooking up with dudes in this music video, at least for Girls' Generation.
Good point.
Having a limbo party, need I say more?
Yeah.
How would you rate the concept, Supermatic?
One thing I do like and respect SM for with this particular song is how they were able to keep it very engaging and interesting, even though it's all within just one setting, which is the club. So that said, along with everything you just pointed out, I like this one just a slight bit more than Holiday. I actually giving it a 3.5 on the concept.
To me, it seems realistic if you follow my narrative, where Tiffany just broke up with a guy and she's on her phone. She's trying to text him I'm not into you, guy, or maybe she's trying to ghost him or something. I don't know. But yeah. That's what I saw. To me, it was realistic in that way. It was fun. It was colorful. We've got Tiffany breaking up. We've got drag queens. We've got dudes in the bathrooms. it's a little edgy for Girls' Generation, but I think this is a good slight move in the right direction for SNSD.
Yeah.
I got to give it a 3.
Okay.
I think they could have done a little bit more in the production value and heading in that direction. But it was still I think it was satisfactory for Girls' Generation, but not quite fit for a 10-year anniversary.
I liked it. To me, but comparing the two singles, All Night shined to me because it seemed newer. Like they actually went for new experimental things as opposed to Holiday.
Yeah.
And sonically, this one felt a little more out of the box of what I would expect from SNSD, which I like.
Right. I thought it was a hella dope song. Even though it's like girly pop, I was totally banging and playing this song loudly in my car, and it's like I was not afraid to be judged for playing this song because I thought it was that groovy. It was almost in the same vein of like what we might hear from Bruno Mars. I mean, not exactly the same, but it's that sort of like party appropriate K-pop song. This is the song that you play when you go to a K-pop party for sure. I still have to reiterate what my friend Lori said, that it felt like, Taeyeon was kind of holding herself back a little bit in terms of the singing ability in the song. But it went well together on the whole, and I love the pre-chorus parts of the song. Just diving right into the audio scores, I give the song a 4.
Ooh, nice. Funny enough, I actually found myself also giving the song a 4 because it's just, like you said, it's banging. Like, I don't know, this is the one I'm definitely feeling more as a song myself, and All Night is going to be one of those songs that I keep on listening to over and over.
Yeah, and it's a fun song to dance to. I mean, it's like I want to play this song with my friends, even if they're not into K-pop, honestly. Like, if they can get past hearing like girly bubblegum pop voices, like this is still an awesome song. And I love that like funky bass that you kind of get going throughout. So on the whole, is this song Daebak or not? Supermatic.
Daebak. What else would it be?
Yeah, it's definitely Daebak for me. So they hit it. They hit it out of the park with this song. This is a song for people who aren't so ones. And I'm pretty sure this was part of SM Entertainment's strategy. It was like, okay, we got something safe. We've got something edgy, or at least edgy as far as SNSD goes. It's not edgy in the world of K-pop, but it's edgier for a Girls' Generation. And they succeeded in my book with All Night. It's one that maybe you don't even listen to or never heard of SNSD before. This is one of those gateway songs that I might use as a part of that.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. I could see that.
So let's take a quick step back here and ask ourselves, like, was this a good 10-year anniversary? Was this a comeback fit for a 10-year-old group?
I feel like it was appropriate. I mean, I don't really see what else SM and Girls' Generation could have done because, I mean, it was pretty smart for them to come out with 2 different songs, 2 different concepts, as you said. And playing into that, the whole 2-song strategy, I mean, we even reiterated this seems to be a norm now for a lot of groups in K-pop. I liked that SNSD did this because Holiday is that song where they put it out to honor their legacy of the past 10 years, kind of like a celebratory reminiscence. But then All Night is kind of like, here's what lies ahead. Here's what the future of SNSD and Girls' Generation looks like and sounds like. Come along for the ride. Personally, for me, I like that they did that because for us as fans, whether we're Sones or just general K-pop fans overall, even if we may like one song over the other, both songs are very characteristic, in my view, of Girls' Generation, both what they've been up until this point and then also where they are now.
I think maybe what would have been better if they made Holiday more of the anniversary and celebration of that anniversary. And definitely, All Night is definitely, I'm sure, by design, trying to show what's next, moving forward. But Holiday could have been improved upon if it was that holiday celebration of reaching 10 years and just showing that in a different way that didn't make them look immature and seemed conceptually dissonant.
Yeah.
We have to ask, what happened to Jessica?
You know, that's a good question, Peter. For anyone who knows anything about K-pop or even Girls' Generation, you do know that there was another member up until a few years ago, and that is Jessica. Although, at this point, no one really knows. I'm not really sure. Because if anyone is not familiar, there was that whole 9/30/2014 a few years ago where Jessica was either depending on which story you subscribe to, she was either kicked out of SNSD or she chose to leave. And even though it's been already 3 years, some of those wounds there are still pretty fresh for a lot of people. And it would have been nice, at least for me as a Son and as someone who got into K-pop originally through Girls' Generation back when they were 9 members, it would have been nice to see some acknowledgement of Jessica.
Yeah, maybe at least as what we saw with 2NE1, right? And acknowledging that Minji was a part of the group. Yep. In this, I feel like SM Entertainment was just trying to pretend like, nope, that never happened. She was never a part of this group. Let's rewrite history. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's a move they're making because they're kind of competing with Jessica's new label, and she's got some fandom, although there's some question in terms of how relevant she will remain in K-pop now that she's no longer a part of SNSD. I don't know. I feel like it's sort of divided in terms of how you approach it. So my friend Lori, she commented that, people don't forget that there was a whole nother being in the group for 7 years. Like, she's always, when you think of Jessica, she's always going to be linked to Girls' Generation in one way or another, unless she takes a more backseat position in the music industry. And I think that's what SM Entertainment is really hoping for. I mean, when we saw all the singles from Girls' Generation, I kind of feel like SM Entertainment was making that calculated decision to sort of combat anything we saw from Jessica, honestly. And not that the girls, have any malice toward each other. I think far from it. I think the girls themselves are cheering for each other, regardless of, the politics. But the business of K-pop is trying to do otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear what our listeners think. You know how to get in touch with us. Just give us a tweet at the Kpopcast. We're eager to hear your thoughts. So what did you think of the 2 songs, Matt? I mean, which was the strongest in your opinion?
It's funny because you and I both looked at our listener feedback, and I feel like all of them, I fall right in line with them. Like, we're all in the same boat because...
Yeah.
Even though I do like both songs, I'm just digging All Night a lot more.
Totally. We had an informal Twitter poll, a small sampling of just tweeting once and then seeing who would respond to it. We had a very slight advance for All Night, at least for the people who voted in our Twitter poll. It was 56% for All Night over 44% for Holiday.
And that sounds about right.
That might just be, a reflection of our listeners, maybe our more Western, K-pop listeners who might have a preference for All Night. We had some really interesting feedback from a few people who tweeted at us. What Will said, tweeted at us saying, Holiday has 10-year celebrations written all over it. All Night, however, builds the narrative of SNSD going forward. It's a pop masterpiece.
Yeah.
Rodri Thomas, who has joined us last episode, also tweeted, I'm way more into All Night than I am Holiday. Holiday just seems so basic, formulaic, like someone plugged SNSD into a formula. And All Night is unique. It's something someone had to put a lot of themselves into to create. Holiday seems like it's just X plus SNSD equals hit song.
Yeah.
And then you have, I think, people who have been maybe following, K-pop for a very long time, like Jacques of Idolator and the Arcady blog, who tweeted that, both were fantastic. Holiday is a bit more commercial, though, so as far as getting a mainstream hit, it goes better. And this is from Jacques' seasoned perspective.
I mean, I'm just pretty happy to see them coming back, and of course I've got their album downloaded already. I'm going to buy the physical copy when it comes out, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't be a K-pop fan if it wasn't for this group. They were my gateway, and I'm just happy that they've hit 10 years, and who knows how much longer they'll be going. But as they say, today's Girls' Generation, right now Girls' Generation, forever Girls' Generation. So let's see how that holds up.
Yeah. This package of the 2 songs together, it felt like a pop rather than a bang. It wasn't overwhelming. And knowing the resources that SM Entertainment has, it felt like it was just very satisfactory from what one would get from a top label. I think they could have done something more, I don't know, over the top, especially for Holiday. So that's where I'm just feeling like this is more of a footnote than a big masterpiece or big celebration from Girls' Generation.
Okay.
So that's it for this episode of the Kpopcast. For listener feedback, we didn't get anything, at least not from our last episode, outside of what has already been discussed for SNSD comeback. What do we have on the show for next week, Supermatic?
Funny enough, coming up later this week, none other than Jessica herself is dropping her 10-year anniversary single. I think her album is called My Decade, and the song is Summer Storm, so very likely we'll be taking a look at that.
Well, that's like fighting words to say, like,
right?
This is my 10 years. and to do it so closely to SNSD, like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. Okay, well, let us know. I haven't been a fan of Jessica because I feel like she's been doing a little too much Manic Pixie Dream Girl for her last couple songs, but you, our listeners, let us know if we should give that a look. Otherwise, what else is coming out next week?
Well, we've got the boys of Produce 101. Oh, excuse me, 101. We're dropping the debut single, so maybe we'll look at that too.
Okay, so best ways to get in touch with us?
You can find us at Twitter. Peter plugged us earlier. We are at the Kpopcast, but then you can also find me at Supermatic, SOUPERMATIC.
And I'm at DJ Peter Lowe. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your friends.
Yeah.
Get them to subscribe to the Kpopcast on their favorite podcasting platform. Okay, we'll catch you guys all next week.
Yeah.